When I first started working, I was just doing it, and I didn't really know why I was doing it, what I was actually doing. And the question later, which is where I am now still, it just kept coming to me. What are you doing? What is this? What is it when a human works a piece of stone? Why is this so gratifying? And why is it that all the cultures on earth, if they have stone and they make things in stone, we know about it, and why is it so gratifying that we can leave a mark and it stays? I'm Emily Young. I'm a stone carver. I think the story probably starts when I was very young and living in Rome, and everywhere you walk you see stone. The buildings are made of stone, and there's sculptures all over the place, and there's fountains and churches, and it got into my blood. And then when I was back living in England, we lived near Avebury and Stonehenge, and that was also part of my history. I wanted to be an artist, and I started off as a painter, and then we were putting a marble sort of tabletop into the kitchen, and it was a bit too big, and there were some bits left over, and a random person had once left a little leather bag with some stoneworking tools in it, and I thought, well, actually I could maybe use these tools on this little bit of marble. I started working it, and I found I absolutely loved it. I loved the resistance of material, and it seemed like I knew how to do it. It was instinctively very, very, very satisfying, and I just kept going. And now, I'm doing these huge pieces, still hand carved. I use machines now. I use angle grinders and electric saws and things, but to finish them it's always by hand, and again you're just going tap 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 tap. What I realised was I'm actually manifesting a human, I'm just a random human, my relationship with the planet. So I have a random piece of stone, a random human, so it became very important what I make, and I didn't want it to be egoic. I didn't want it to be about my illusions of my importance. But of course, I'm part of the picture, I'm part of the relationship. And what became very clear is that we were working together, me and the stone lets me know what it can do and what it can't do. You have to be incredibly respectful. I don't choose stones that don't want to play with me, if you see what I mean. I want to play with them, and you've got to get it going so that it is going to work. You are going to do something together. Sometimes when I'm looking at stones in a stone yard or a quarry, or even just wandering around here where I live, sometimes a stone would be saying, no, don't come anywhere near me, I don't want to. And sometimes they look like they're sort of hiding, but they're kind of being a little bit attractive at the same time. There's just one little something that makes me think, actually, they are talking to me. Sometimes they look like they've got their dirty grey overcoat on, and they're sort of like this, but inside there are marvels. There's crystals, and there's colours, and there's stripes and spots and things that look like neurological systems or like trees, and you can see how the stone will have grown geologically in nature, and that's what I like. I like that the stone is not made a servant in a boring way. I like the stone still to have quite a lot of wildness in it. Those are the ones I really love. There's a thing that's nice, which is that with certain marbles, for instance, it's very obvious, in onyxes, if you bounce a chisel, for instance, on it, and it goes ding, ding, and you can hear that it's absolutely resonating beautifully all the way through from my side right the way through to the other side. There's nothing dead in the middle of it, like a little split, and some air has got in there, because that deadens the sound, and you can hear that. There are the three things I do. I do stone discs, I do torsos, and I do the heads. So the stone discs that's basically the sun and the moon, and the knowledge that the earth is a globe. And those are without the sun and the moon, we wouldn't be here. So from my point of view, these are the classic shapes. And then the torsos, there's a thing about finding an energy in the stone that resonates with the energy of my torso. And this is actually very alive. The front of your body here is very, there's a sort of warmth and power that, Tai Chi and all these people talk about it. But to be alive, this is where you're feeling real life. And then there's this bit, which is looking and seeing and feeling and thinking and eating and all of that. So those are the heads. Now this piece is actually about 3.5 tons, it's enormous. What it's showing is it's a very large piece of stone, full of sort of holes and cracks and fissures and all sorts of different kinds of stone inside it. And this was actually it's a volcanic stone from the mountain near where I live here. It shows something that happened, which was a huge volcanic explosion. So, and you get this thing that's pyroclastic activities, which is when you've got burning gas, which boils through the stone. It actually burns holes in the stone. It's what happened at Pompeii, for instance. You can see these amazing complex things, and also that it's blown up other layers of stone that were whole before. And they all get blown up into little sections, and then they all land back down again in this dust and the ash and all the things that are just falling around from the volcano, and then it all settles over millions of years, and then I come along and I find it and I think it's very beautiful, and then if I'm feeling that it's okay to work with it, in this one, for example, I've put a sort of a classical head, which is sort of moving forwards out of the stone. I like that piece because I call it planet, because in fact it had so much going on inside it, of little plants growing, and there was some wasps had made a little nest in there, for instance, and you see all of this stuff going on inside it. And it could have been a meteorite, in my mind. It was something that has come through time, and then will go on into the future of time, with these little interventions of the little plants, the wasps, or whatever it is, and a volcano, and then me. It will endure. I mean, it's a few 100 million years old. It can go into the future for a few 100 million years old. Some of the stones I use are billions of years old. Some of the quartzites, I was working with some quartzite from the west coast of Scotland, 3.5 billion years old. 3.5 billion. Any human who's been on Earth at any time in history, and also in any part of the world, that when they look at my heads, they will recognize this is a human face. And so what I've been doing for the last decades is I've been trying to find this, it's an expression, that something that is continuous, but that is awake. It's like I'm thinking, my eyes are shut, and I'm feeling and I'm thinking and I'm being, but it's something that can endure again. Through all sorts of different people can look at my pieces and say, I know how that feels. There's a stillness. It's to do with being contemplative and reflective, and maybe not in conversation with another person. It's something very interior. So that's why often they have their eyes closed. But it's about stillness, being really alive and really still. And from my point of view, a stone embodies that.